Welcome to the live stream. So I just wanted to say that when I stream on TikTok, the censorship is crazy. I say this because my streams, so on there, what I do is, like free card pulls, free messages. Once in a while, like I'll do astrology readings on there sometimes. Sometimes I won't. But this is where I do the full readings because the censorship is crazy. You can't say anything. You can say like 5 words and that's it. Hey guys, you probably can still hear me. Give me 1 second. I'm just getting my my iPad here. I'm right here, guys. I'm right here. I'm just opening the, okay, there we go. Oh, no worries. You're here first. It's fine. I usually go by order of, yeah, no problem. No problem. Let me open up. So you have here, okay, so Angeline, I see it here. That's you. Yeah, that's fine. And you have the, oh, I gotta pull it up. Which one did you get? The, I'm about to see it now. That way you don't have to repeat yourself of what you're, of which order. I'm sorry that you guys have to meet me on here, but like I said, the other day, about 3 weeks ago, I said, okay, this is the love reading. Okay, the 10 card love reading. Okay, not a problem. We'll fulfill it right now. All right, sweetheart. So you want it under Angie, right? Your name Angie? Okay. So real quick, 3 weeks ago, I was saying something like, yeah, like I said something about Instagram and I got a violation. My screen turned white and it said that I was being manipulative to my audience for trying to get them off the platform. And if you say the word link, bio, shop, link in bio, the word sale, all of those are flagged. And if you noticed, AI is already saying, tarot love reading, put your love question down below. I never programmed it to do that. So biometrics is part of it, and we know Pinterest had photo recognition. They're using it as well. So now they're getting more sophisticated so they can hear what you say, because if the other day there was a tarot reader that in one of their cards they had like a nudity or something, maybe it's like some Roman paintings or something on it, and they got flagged for nudity, and it was just the tarot card. It was just a Victorian lady. We know that it can scan for images, but now it scans for words, and people are getting filtered in new ways. So that's why I want to be comfortable when I read for the person, All right, here we go. And it's not private. This is public, but it's so much quieter, and I can see the text so clearly. All right, sweetheart. So this is about you. This is about a love reading, and this is 10 cards. So this is 20 minutes. How can I help you? What would you like to focus on? I ask that you don't give me details at first. I like to see what happens organically. You know, just let me know what the question is. Let's dive in and take it from there. So this is like 20 minutes, more or less. All right, sweetie. Is there something wrong with the stream? That's weird. Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, not a problem. I'll be able to tell you a little bit more as well. Just all you have to do is tell me his sign. So if you want to give me your sign and his sign, we're looking for sun sign. The moon and rising is important, but I'm not doing astrology. I'm just for the sun sign is fine. So like, for example, you're what sign and he's what sign? So if a woman is asking, you may be asking a question about a guy in your mind, but in this kind of reading, I'm reading on the guy's mind. So if you're talking to a couple other people that maybe you're not sure of, but they are romantic connections, I always ask, just tell me the sign of the person. Okay, you're a Virgo and his birth month is March. So he might be an Aries and he might be a Pisces. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So because you don't know his sun sign, you only know the birth month, which it could be different signs. Then just give me his nickname. If he has a nickname or something short you call him or something. Or his name or whatever. Oh, okay. You're sure? You're sure? If you're mistaken, I'd rather just have the nickname that you call him or his name or whatever. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So, okay, and you're a Virgo. Okay. All right, that's fine. This tripod's too tall. I had a shorter one I got to change. You guys can see at least a piece of the table or something. Sorry about that. I'll fix it. forgot to put this on. Timer, I forgot the timer. I'm going to do a energy check on the relationship in a minute. I already have the tarot spread here. I'm just going to do an energy check real quick, okay? And then I'll do the talking part. Let me do this part first. I'm just reading this here. All right. Let me discuss this with you. So the question that you're asking is, your main thing is, I'd like to know if there's any potential for this relationship, or is the energy moving towards an ending? Okay, I understand. I would say to you, let's start at the beginning of this. This starts with you hurting his feelings verbally. FYI, if I were doing one of my really large love readings, it's not necessary, but I'm sharing with you. I've never read for you before, at least I don't remember. You know, I would go and spend a significant time in the history of the relationship. I would see where, what went wrong, and I'd know more detail. Not a problem. So you got to understand, I'm just skipping to the most important root of this part. Most recently, the biggest issue that I see, because obviously these things snowball, but the most important thing that I see is there must have been some kind of altercation, maybe quite a few of them, but I'm specifically talking about one where you displayed strong character to him. Now, he might be in Aries, moon, or rising, just to let you know. There is some fire energy there, okay? Because there's a lot of Aries in his energy. And the problem right now that's happening, so you have this beginning of the reading talking about how a person acts with character, they, tell someone off, or they're hard with words, or they put, their foot down. There's some kind of strength of character that's displayed. And on the receiving end, it not only offended, but hurt. Now, the problem that is showing also here is the fact that he's struggling emotionally with being in a relationship, or maybe the hot and cold, because I see that you're not as close as you're supposed to be in a relationship. I see that, yes, there's this you're happening, but you're not happening kind of thing. And this limbo is not healthy. You're aware of it. He's aware of it. I see that there's a lot of struggle with trying to figure things out. You're trying to see if he's going to make you happy by, doing the things that you're requesting, the things that you want, the things that you expect from him. But he's also expecting you to understand his point of view. So that's a butting of heads. In the near future, there's an unpleasant experience around the corner. And this talks about revenge, being a little vindictive. It happens when people are angry at each other, resentment, So the very near future, I do see one of you displays a little bit of vindictive behavior on the other, for whatever it is. So it can be ignoring you, it can be you ignoring him, it can be doing something on purpose just to kind of rub it in his face, or vice versa, whatever it is, it's something like that. That's coming. It's hopefully just a small event and no big deal, but it does show that that's what's coming. The big issue that I see here is your state of confusion. I think the problem is that you're drawn to him and feel a lot of things, but the history of what's happened is so thick, and your mind can't let go of what has upset you so much, and you're split into two different directions. And that's got to be very uncomfortable. Usually when people are in a stage of indecisiveness, they want to control it by making a decision themselves. A lot of times they want to push the situation, whether it's indecision about what to eat or where to go or whatever you do, especially when it's matters of complicated relationships that can also drain someone, not only their energy, but their mind, sleep, eat, not work, not clear mind. So that is an issue. You have to, hopefully this reading will give you some clarity that where you won't be so indecisive, okay? What you're not aware of is that happiness is possible with this person. However, and here's another thing. The fear that I see that you have is that sometimes you have felt like this person could be your destiny. Fear of, is there something better? You know, am I going to blow this, you know, this chance? Is he going to blow this chance? A very big confusion about what the end result is. So I take it you're a planner. You need to feel comforted by kind of knowing the fine print. And I hope I can do that for you. Moving along, this also talks about the fact that a healthy strategy for you in the near future is, instead of choosing another battle, this talks a great deal about maybe taking a fresh perspective and traveling or becoming unavailable a little bit in a nice way, saying, oh, I'm going to be busy, I'm going to be working, but I'll talk to you in 2 weeks or something, you know, where a person buys time, they kind of divert, they appease the situation, they buy time so that the other person's not upset, but you kind of gain clarity. Or it can also be that someone invites you somewhere and you go for a while. This is when a person needs to unplug from the stressor. One of the best things that you can do, so you may not have the initiative to do that, but someone around you might invite you to something or say, why don't you stay over here for a couple days, or why don't we go do that, or be open to that, a suggestion from someone in the next couple of weeks or so, maybe a month or whatever, but close proximity of time. But you know, when a person suggests, you know, let's do this, you know. Now, could it be that he says we need a little time? Maybe it could. This can also influence the actual person being read on. So him, you know, being the objective here. Tristan, the Pisces, Aries energy though. So, you know, if that's the case, you need to take it to a place where you're not offended by it. Although this seems very friendly to me. So what I'm saying to you is, I'm doing a couple of things at the same time. I'm reading on his feelings. I'm seeing what the problem is. I'm predicting certain things in the future. And I'm going to be giving you a couple of reasons and things to expect. And I kind of intermingle it, so I don't want you confused on what I'm saying to you. I'm chronologically letting you know, besides all the info that I'm saying, the next step is a vindictive move. And the next one is where you have this chance to kind of take a refresher. And if it's a friend, then it's inviting you to a 2-day getaway, or a mountain climbing, or whatever, or a concert, or just say yes, because it talks about this helps you. What you're going to be doing within your own power. If you want to connect and align with how this situation is going to unfold and what you can do to help yourself the best, one of the things that is suggested here is that when it's time for you to judge something, don't quiet yourself. If something is offending you, or something is angers you, yes, you have a way of just expressing what you need. Sometimes you can bottle up a lot of it and then boom, you know. But this is saying, stop giving the good response first and then holding on to a bunch of stuff and letting it bottle and fester and fester and fester. And then you react all of a sudden. You need to not do that with this person. If that's your personality, change it. As hard as it might seem. Because your objective is to stay with this person and work. And what's not going to happen is you're going to have failure instead of success if you don't start to understand that you can't do this. So it's difficult because that's you. But if you put the relationship first, you're capable of change and evolving. And what's hurting this situation is, I'm not saying you're the bad one, but you're the one I'm reading for. I'm reading on him, but you're the one that I can give the message to. If it was the other way around, I would probably point out what he's doing that's pissing you off. Okay? So, and I don't read for couples, so it's fine. Just you. So anyway, the important takeaway here is that when something hurts you or something upsets you or whatever it is that rubs you the wrong way and rustles your feathers with your relationship with him only in that context, address it clearly at that time. You know, you really upset me. Give me an hour. I'm really upset and angry. I don't want to yell, but I'm pissed off. Give me an hour to cool down, and then I'll talk to you about it. That kind of method will help you. Because when you react naturally, he can't handle it. Now, let's get into answering more clearly what your answer is that you asked. He's in a state of being offended and a mixture of hurt by the way you treat him. I don't know your situation. I don't know this guy. I don't know you, but I know what I'm seeing. Maybe in your perspective, he's the moron, he's the idiot, he's the bad guy. And I'm sure in some way you know, something made you upset. Something gets to you. But to him, you're not, he can't, you know, it would be ideal that the person that's in love, when one's acting really shitty, love is supposed to be where the other partner in the relationship says, oh, they're just upset. Oh, they're being annoying. I'll talk to them later. Honey, you really have to change your character with this. It's upsetting me all the time. You got to work better at it so the person doesn't feel like they're going to be left. Love is patience. Love is all of that. This is not working this way. He's feeling a bunch of things he's not telling you. You're bottling up because you're being patient, but then when you let him know, in your mind, you're doing nothing wrong, but in his mind, you're offending him. It's when two people are drawn to each other romantically, but as personalities, they don't work. And that's tough because you both have a lot of romantic desire and you feel drawn to each other, but it's like oil and water. So there are some things that it will repair it. You can learn to learn him and the way that he needs to be spoken to. You can meet his emotional needs. Or you can say, F it, I don't need this crap. I need somebody better. And you can say he's a great guy, but you can't live your life solving this difficult puzzle. And that's your prerogative too. Now, the prediction of the overall relationship. I see that in the end, this relationship is kind of doomed because of duplicity. Lies, covering up. Sometimes people aren't bad, but they bottle up so much, and if he doesn't admit to you some things, he's secretive. It can be his style. Some personalities you would say, my God, why didn't you just tell her? And the guy will say, oh my God, I can't. So it says, he was unfaithful at the start of the relationship. Yeah, but that's in the past. I'm not belittling it, but that's in the past. Now we're focusing on today. Don't hold on to baggage. There's nothing wrong with what you're saying of healing. But if you decide to stay together, healing, you got to get with it. You got to make that choice, right? If not, you just super glue broken holes. So again, that sounds like it's a heavy past. We're not looking into the past, which is why I told you when I look at relationships, I really see what went wrong. I'm taking it from the part of what's happening in today's situation. In today's situation, there is no one else. In today's situation, it has evolved to be where silence and stress and built up emotions are not giving clear communication, which equals trust and balance. You say you're finding it hard to heal. Okay, that happens to people. And trust him again, of course. To you, he feels cold and gets very uncomfortable when you're emotional or hurt. So is this the Tristan and you're Amy? You're the Cancer, saying you're a Virgo? Okay, it doesn't matter. I did the reading anyway, regardless. So let's see. So to you, he feels cold and gets very uncomfortable when you're emotional or hurt. He's cold because he's scared. And the emotional part of you, he doesn't know how to fix it. So unfortunately, the way that I see it is, in my professional opinion, looking at this love situation, you and him together can have a good path. What does it take? Effort. He's got to learn to put the effort and communicate with you more and not make you feel like he's hiding something in the shadow because there's already a trust issue. He's doing it because of fear. He's traumatized too because of the situation. And he doesn't know how to move forward either, because you'll always see him as the bad guy. And it's hard to be happy when all you are is labeled as the bad guy, when there's nobody else in the picture right now, because I already checked. And there hasn't been. Okay? So your anger, you can't put it in your pocket. You can't bake it in the oven. It's real. So I see that the result of this is that there is an option with very hard work. If two people decide and get on the same page, you can make it work and be happy. But will you? I also see that naturally the force, because there's your own decision and your own freedom of choice, your own free will. But then there's also the way that I see it's going to play out. And this is where prediction comes in. I'm predicting that you will end. I'm predicting that the relationship will be doomed because a trigger will go off. Won't necessarily be accurate, but it will go off. So it ends in duplicity. It ends in no trust. I also see that later on, there's someone that enters your life romantically that does balance you. But it's not, we're not getting into that. That's, that's a whole other thing. Today, right now, the place you're in at this moment is you want relief. That's what you want, is relief. So the best thing is therapy. I'm a psychic. I'm not a therapist. Only a person that works. See, I can predict, a psychologist can't. I'm a psychic. They just do therapy. But the therapist can work with you and help you through your healing. You see? Because this seems like it's too big of a homework assignment for you to do on your own. You're having a very difficult time with trauma and healing, and so is he. So maybe therapy for you and therapy as a couple. If you are therapy minded. Some people are not therapy minded and it offends them to think that way. Whatever, I'm just saying, I'm suggesting it, or maybe family can help you, or maybe taking a break. I know that continuing on the cycle is not healthy, because you're failing at what your goals are and you're prolonging the agony while the fear builds, and then you are angry and you don't know where to put that anger, and he knows you're angry and he's terrified, and then he gets hurt, And he's always going to feel like the one that is the bad guy. And how can a man feel good and loving and proud and enjoy his life when he always has a cross to bear? Forgiveness is forgetting and starting at ground zero, and a lot of people don't know that part of forgiving. Then it's not. You either forgive and completely forget, or you're bullshitting the forgiveness. And nobody can tell you what to forgive. He hurt you. He betrayed the trust. And that, although I see that was in the past, though, it's not fresh. It's fresh. Your pain is fresh. But I don't see that in this situation. But anyway, we've gone over the time. I got to get back. Actually, I have another reading to do. But thank you so much, sweetheart. I hope I was able to help you. But again, I think that this is more the therapy that's going to be the answer for you. Oh, okay, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Ann Mar, yes. Ann Mar, you also bought a love reading, submitted the form. Oh, the form is only if you buy Astrology, guys. It's only if you buy Astrology, because I do I'm an astrologer, so I do deep readings with that. That was the form. Okay, these are just 20-minute reads. They're 10 cards. No worries, no worries. Not a problem. If you ever decide to do that or go that route, I will save it if you want, or I could delete it. You know, whatever you want is your information. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna start. Let me pull up your order to make sure it's which love reading. Let's see. I'm just gonna clear the energy a little bit with some spiritual cologne. All right, let's see. I do that between readings. All right, let's open it up here. So this one is for Anne-Marie got the 15. Okay, 10 card love. Okay, sweetheart. So how can I help you? This reading is 20 minutes. It's 10 cards. It is to show clarity on a love question. And how can I help you today? What is your question? I used to play music in the background, but you get copyright violations. It's like, what? Really? I can't even play elevator music. Anyway, Anne-Marie, I wanted to apologize for having you hop on here. But TikTok, it's great because the traffic with the niche is really interesting, but every word is filtered. So I got a violation 3 weeks ago where they ended up taking it out. And you know, I was they basically canceled it. But I said the word Instagram, and it said that I was trying to be manipulative, taking an audience outside the platform. And I'm like, I don't even use my Instagram. What the hell are they talking about? The person just asked me about Instagram. And then I used the word, I forgot what it was. You can't say link in bio. You can't say visit my, if it's not on TikTok shop, they don't allow you to say anything. And I'm a registered corporation with them. You could see in my bio in gray, it says LLC, and it's registered corp in gray. What is their problem? You know, what the hell? Anyway, I'm very sorry, but it's much more comfortable to do readings in here. I can actually speak and say things. Okay, thank you. They are very strict. Yeah, it was sold. The platform was sold, so they treat content creators really differently, and everything is about TikTok shop. All right, sweetie, back to you, which is what's important. I just wanted to explain that so you understand. Okay, you're single and you're just curious, is there a potential to meet your partner? Okay. Oh, I can see now why you were drawn to astrology, because astrology can foretell those kinds, like your soulmate and stuff. Interesting. Okay, well we can take a look. So I do have a I'm gonna do my best on this one. It's 10 cards. I'm not trying to sell you another reading. I'm gonna try to show as much as I can in this one. I just want to let you know, though, FYI, I do have a reading in my shop called Find My New Love. And it's a reading that I designed for my single clients who wanted a love reading, but they're single. And I said, well, let me design something for you guys, because you guys want to see who's coming and what, I have another one where women are dating several potential suitors. It's called Which One Should I Choose? And I tell them what the path would be with each one and all that. So, all right, so here we go. This is, your question would be, is there a new potential love suitor coming into your life soon? Pretty much. Okay, let's see. What is your sun sign, sweetheart? You basically, your zodiac sign? I don't need to know your moon or rising or anything like that. Just for tarot, just your sun sign. Okay, Aquarius. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to read the dice a minute. Ooh. There's a breakup here with someone you might have been engaged to, or someone, maybe a long-term boyfriend, maybe a spouse. There was something very significant in your past here. How long ago was it? How long ago was this relationship that broke up? There's also someone semi can enter the picture. We're going to talk about that. Yeah. He's not, in a way, but it is what it is. It was quite a relationship, I'll tell you. Sorry to hear that, but if you're happy, then that's wonderful. All right, we'll take a look. Okay, so there's somebody I am seeing already semi trying to be in the picture. Let's see. Yeah, there's a man trying to enter your life. Are you aware of a man that wants to enter your life romantically? Because there's an energy here already. Oh, you're like, whoo. Okay, we will find out. All right, here we go. Okay. I'm sorry, usually the tripod shows a little bit more of the table. I gotta fix it. I just changed my table and my tripod, so. Did you let me know your sign? I think you forgot to tell me. Oh, you told me you're Aquarius. You did tell me you're Aquarius. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm sorry. You are dating right now, but what I mean by dating is trying to be proactive in trying to meet someone. So I don't mean steady dating one man, having dinner every night, talking till 3 in the morning. I don't mean dating, but I mean you're dating. So like you're casually dating. So it means like you'll go on a blind date, or maybe you'll try talking to somebody a little while, or trying to get to. It's not like you're being a hermit, talking to no one and not trying. So because I do see that there's little bits of activity. Yeah. There is someone that was interested that maybe you were not interested in and you dismissed it. That's possible. But hang on, still not done with this. Okay. Okay. So let's get into the reading. I know I've been quiet for a while, but now I have everything done and I understand. The reading begins with you leaving behind something that had value. Sometimes people getting out of long-term relationships, marriages, partnerships, living partners, whatever. Sometimes it costs them money, For one client, it can be their furniture. For some clients, one lady had to give up a dog, sometime, and that she loved very much. So, whatever it is, it could also be something that was really good that went sour and they had to leave it. There was maybe there were in-laws or family that loved you. I don't know, but this talks about you leaving something, but you did have to walk away from something of value. And this also talks about, you do have some Leo energy. I don't know what your moon or rising is, but you do have a lot of Leo. This talks about you being very resourceful with money. Maybe you don't see yourself that way, but you are. You know, in some ways you do have good fortune with money. Maybe to you, that's not good fortune, but I see that you easily get answers to things. Money comes your way. You're easy to get, you know, positions, or maybe you have stability in what you do. In Aquarius, females in general, though, are pretty lucky with that. In some way, shape, or form, they always have what they need. It's interesting. They're lucky that way. And I do see that there's opportunity coming your way with money. So maybe this is, you know, I know this is a love reading. It's not with work, but this talks about opportunity. But the problem is that I also see that you have to become who you are today, to get through what you've lived through. You've had to become very strong. There's nothing wrong with strong. Oh, okay, starting a small business in May. Okay, good. It's going to be really good for you, because this is an announcement of really good money coming your way. It's working. It's working. It's working. I mean, it's not going to be like the movies and Harry Potter magic wand, but it's going to be pretty cool, like very good in a realistic way, extremely lucrative, and to keep at it. So really good, really good. So, and you know, it takes, businesses take a flow. I mean, I run 2 of my small businesses. So, and you know, every year there's a certain, like, you know, banks and research will always tell you, you know, the statistics, like if you reach this percentage and da, da, da. So there's always, you know, it's a growing thing, you know. I think if you're under 7 years, you're still a business baby. So, okay. So, good for you. This talks about you focusing on it a lot. And because of it, your focus on your love life is not as strong. The irony, right? You can be in a really happy marriage and relationship and have a successful business. But when a person is single and trying to grow that part of their life and let that flourish, and they're also trying to flourish and grow the work and career at the same time, it doesn't balance the scales. So it's like work is up here and love life, you want it to be up here, but you've put too much into this. And that's fine. There will be a phase, it will even out, right? But it's just what it is right now. That's the reality. In the near future, it talks about you continuing to try to do different things. Maybe it's different apps. Maybe it's different places you hang out. Maybe it's different techniques for dating. It talks about confusion. It talks about a person having indecision. Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm not sure. Indecisiveness sucks, but it's going to be something that you experience strongly in the near future. A little bit of the reading is a little bit tough, but hang on, because there's always a silver lining. Let me continue more. You are going to meet someone. Okay, so let's get to the person that announced themselves in the dice. You don't know who this person is. Okay, you will very shortly. So there is someone who's going to try to be, interested in you, try to, initiate something. So the very inception of it is there. But when I look deeper with the tarot, I start to see something that it's more of a warning. So let me explain what that is. So there's going to be someone interested in you, but there's a flag. And I think you'll pick up on it too. The more you get to know this person, you're going to know. At first, you don't know. You will not know. So in the reading, I'm trying to tell you so that you can know earlier and faster. Because if left to your own devices, it's something that you may not know till much later. There's something deviant about this person in a sexual way. So that means that they're attracted to, X, Y, Z, LMNOP, whatever it is. There's something that's unique in your, and it would be of concern. I know that there's no censorship here really, but I'm still I try to be very politically correct in how I express myself, because I don't want to, use certain, words and stuff. But there could be someone that you meet where when you look beneath the surface, you'll see that perhaps this is just absolutely a red flag and something that you will not like. And so that just means that, number one, you are attracting energy. So that's good, because there's women that want to date and there's no one on the radar. So a couple of frogs before the prince is not a bad thing. This is just one of the frogs, It just means keep moving along. There is another thing here that shows up, that the heartache and the stress that you went through, and I wouldn't say heartache just like that. I would just say the fact that something so comfortable became so uncomfortable for you, is, I know you're tough. I could see you're a tough cookie, but, you're not made of steel. And I do see that the past that you went through, because it came from such familiarity, there was such trust, there was such a bond. It's difficult, very, very difficult. So we're not going to go there. That's in your past, and that's it. But it was a lot. The person that you are today had to go through a shitload and sacrifice a lot to run away from the person that you were, because you couldn't take it. So I understand that part. Let's continue. This talks a great deal about fear, and this talks about worried about having a victim mentality. That sounds so weird how I said that. What I mean is, there's this fear that can wash over you where you'll wonder, will you make the same mistake again? You can never be her. So that you've built up, not only were you successful at starting a new life, but you haven't been successful in enjoying the new hopes without the old fear. And this has its quiet little cobwebs, this in the mind, and the fears. So afraid of, will I be that same person that allowed this into my life again? Or was this going to happen again? I can't allow it, I won't, so that's uncomfortable. This talks about someone, so this is about a healing part. Something that helps you, so something that's going to help you out. This talks about someone that goes way back in your life. Maybe it's visiting the house you grew up in, or maybe it's visiting family you haven't, or a place maybe you grew up, maybe when you went to school, elementary school or high school or something. This is when a person goes back to revisit something in their past that brings them like a comfort or a joy, some kind of stability. Maybe someone visits you from the past, or I'm not sure, how this plays out, but this is saying that in your near future, at your disposition, something that life is throwing your way is a small experience with some familiarity that refreshes you, that helps you. Another thing too, I would say, to answer your question, I would say that you stay single for a really long time, which is uncomfortable to say, unless you start realizing what you're doing. And please don't get offended. I don't know you and I'm not judging you, but you did come to me for clarity and I am delivering it. I just hope that it helps you and not upsets you. The reason that you're single, so I do see that there's going to be a few frogs, not the prince, that's trying to be in the picture. Okay, that's good. We talked about that being a healthy thing. It's better than zero energy. But why is it, where's the prince, and why is it that I'm saying that you stay single for a while? Because the reading is showing me that your way of thinking and your way of approaching dating and your way of looking at what you're willing to accept or not, you have built such a steel wall against what you're so afraid of that you're not looking at it with healthy perspective. You are, this happens sometimes to very strong women. I know you're open for love, that's obvious, and you admit it, but you're kind of closed too. And because of the way that you are thinking, the vibe you're putting out, you're not gonna find the prince. It doesn't mean forever. It means that you're prolonging your success. And that's hard because you're doing such an excellent job with your career. I could sit here trying to tell you, there are women that I help greatly with love cleanses. Sometimes it's love spells that they just do on their life in general. No manipulation, nothing on anyone. Sometimes it's things that boost energy, that boosts good luck. None of that is relevant to you, nor are you eligible. You know why? Because it starts here. Your mind decides that if you buy $1,000 worth of exercise equipment, you have to want to do it. If your mind if your pocket spends, $50,000 on an education and you never pick up a book, you just buy the classes and they all fail, you didn't want to. If your brain, your soul, your alignment, mind, body, soul, does not align with what's really going to give you success despite your strong beliefs, despite your closed-minded perspective, it will not work. The way that you're looking at the dating is anything but the ex. His energy is not around you, but the haunting of what was and the fear that it should be again is present. It changed you so much that the deep positive belief, because there's a lot of cynicism here. There's a lot of, I don't trust you. Oh, you're all the same. Oh, just get out of here. You're just a moron. Oh, okay, whatever. I don't believe in this. That edgy, very that vulnerable, loving that you were before the issues, before the catastrophe relationship. Part of her was winning with love, because it was this sweet, loving, caring, open vulnerability that unfortunately needs to be alive today, because that's what attracts. And it happens, for example, you're running a business, and if you get on there and you say, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, everybody's going to go buy. But if you're like, hey, how are you? No, I'm not trying to sell you anything. How are you? And, they'll like you. And if you're a human and you have a freaking cup of coffee with somebody, hi, how are you? You want to have some coffee? It's what happened to that cool, there's no pressure. I'm cool with this. There is none. You're very wound tight, very on edge, and that's where you might be really upset with me, because it's like, you don't know me, how can you say this about me? You don't know anything. I understand, sweetheart, but I'm seeing that this is what closes you off. Believing that there's really no fish in the sea, they're all rotten. Believing that this is a freaking joke. What, are they kidding me? They're all losers. I don't know. That one's too short. No, that one doesn't have any money. That one, you see that cynical, like boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna dish it out 1,000 ways to break that down. That's not that vibe you gotta send out. That's the vibe of, that's not the vibe of, she's hot, let me buy her a drink, And that because of that, set in your own ways, set in, it's almost like you hung up the towel, You can't be like that. So the funny part is, and the ironic part is, that the way you're acting now is exactly the formula you need to be successful in business. Whatever you're doing is working, it will be working. will be continuing to work for you, because money energy and love energy work almost in the same frequency. I know you don't know this, but because I'm a magical practitioner, I'm going to mention it. You never do money spells and love spells at the same time. You never pursue your career and your love life at the same time, because it won't work. It just doesn't work that way. It's like trying to gain weight and lose weight at the same time. You know? So if get your career going, try to be lighthearted about things. And when you have stability with your business, dedicate yourself to your love life and relax and come at it with full heart and put out an energy out there of who you really are, not what you built yourself to be, so that when a potential prince is looking at you, he sees a really sweet woman, not a woman who's afraid, who has steel walls, who he has to climb through 20,000 mountains to be with, because they have feelings too, you know? One of the first things a man finds attractive in a woman is sweetness. Ask a bunch of men. They'll tell you. One could look prettier with her figure, one could have really pretty hair and body features, and the one that's the sweetest has more sex appeal. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying you're sweet, but this is what this is. So good for money, not so good with love right now. Will this be forever? No. But one of your karmas, one of your destined things is to get this right, because time is of essence, and the sooner the better, because there's no ageism or anything or nothing like that. Love is at any age, but there are prime times, and the sooner the better. So focus on your business, and when you're not looking and when you're very, very relaxed and you're giving out very zen vibes, you might be surprised with what approaches you, because you're also seeing things that are not, that you're also not noticing good candidates too. Right. And the reading is saying that the way that you're viewing it, this is the hard part. This is the part where you might really not like me. And that's okay. It happens. This is the part where I might offend you or upset you, but I promised you I would be honest. I'm going to stick to that, okay? At the risk of you not liking me. I know that you really 1000% feel that every man you meet is a narcissist. And I'm telling you that you're wrong. Narcissism is very rare. It's a term thrown away all over. Like, people misuse the word literally so much your ears could bleed. People throw the term narcissist away everywhere. It's a psychological term, and it's an actual psychological profile. And there are certain variables that a person has to meet to be a narcissist. And it's usually also desensitized by, not like a psychopath or a sociopath. That's different. But it is similar in a way where there has to be a kind of desensitization where they will put money first and no regard for the human emotion. And there's a lot of things that go with that term. So a lot of people just say, oh, he's so stuck up, he's such an idiot. And they say narcissist, and that's not what he is. It has to be evaluated, to be honest. Look it up. Look it up in the American Psychological Association. It is a psychological profile. It is a psychological term. You are saying they're all narcissist. No, I read for thousands of men. And when I read for them, you get the jerks, you get the sweet guys. My demographic is composed of women that mostly are American, even though I have, living in America, even though I have a global audience. And most of them are between the ages of 30 and about 50. It's a weird range, but it's like lots of ages there. I have youngers and a little bit more golden. I read for someone who's 70 something, 85 one time. but the majority, and a lot of them are either young women looking for love, or it's women that are trying to restart their love life again, or women that have had a very broken situation, and that's why I specialize in love. But I do have my group of men that I have read for through the years, and I can tell you, one guy read me his profile on, he's about 35, and he read me his profile on his Hinder, one of those, I don't remember, one of those apps. He had all of them. And I said, "You sound like a jerk." And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, you sound like you don't even want to buy a cup of coffee for her." And he's like, that's not what I meant. And I'm like, "Well, that's what you're saying." So it took an hour, and I helped him write his profile, and he got a date. He has a girlfriend now, but long story short, just there are men that are absolute jerks, and they're just cold, and you can't change it, and they just want to use a woman, and they think that if they just buy her a donut or something cheap, they're entitled to go to the bakery. And then there's men that expect women to pay their own way, and they're just, oh my gosh, masochistic, and they're just horrible, and no feelings, no, just. And then there's guys that are just nervous and scared, which is the majority of them, men. They're scared, they're nervous, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they're writing half of what their buddy tells them to do, some of them their fathers, some of them their brothers, and some of them because they saw it on the internet. And it's like, it's not working. A lot of them try to pump themselves up to be so cool online. I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this. And I, like one of my other clients, 32, he wants to get married. I said, what the hell are you telling them for? How much you've made? And he's like, because I want them to know I'm successful. No, stupid. It means you're all into the money, and you're sending out the wrong signal. And he's like, I am? I'm like, yeah. So I'm just trying to tell you, no, I know that. I know. I'm not misunderstanding you. I'm not trying to understand you at all, because I know that I don't know you, and I want to be respectful to you. I'm not trying to figure you out or anything like that. I try to figure out where the person has the issue. I don't evaluate people. I don't do any of that. You're very complicated, and you're not going to be simplified in just 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I respect you, and people are complicated. I know I don't know your story, but I know there's pain, and I know there's fear, and I know that you want love, and you are very open to it. But somewhere in what it sounds like, you're interviewing them in your head. There's nothing wrong with having a list of things you will accept and not accept. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not like, I'm not saying to you, oh, don't have standards. Oh my God, that's crazy. Don't have boundaries. That's nuts. But the way you're going about it is that you very easily figure out the guy. When I'm telling you, a little patience and looking at it with a different perspective, you could see that maybe he was nervous, and maybe that one was lying to impress you, and maybe that one thought that you weren't going to like him anyway, so he was just trying to see what you would say. And maybe the other one was just trying to go for a dance, if you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, one of them might have really just been a really cool option, and he would have said, I'm sorry, everybody who's been rejecting me, and I wanted to be, the cool one, and it's funny how vulnerable they are. That's all I was trying to tell you, is if you look at it with more patience, there's a habit going on now in the dating world where everything's an interview. Everything is an interview, and the guys feel like their hands are sweating even before they meet the girl. So I was just saying, take it to a fun place where there's no, it's the vibe that you're giving out, I hope that helps. You can also turn to your closest loved ones And I'm sure they will give you, there's this really cool thing that happens with a person's natural built-in support group. You know, your circle of loved ones that you trust. A lot of times, some of the advice they give you is very true. They may make observations and criticize you, and they might be right. So sometimes, you know, if you don't want to believe the spiritual world, you know, some people turn to it, and some people are confused. Should I really believe the psychic? I don't know. That's why you got to wait for what I'm saying to come true. Then you'll believe me. And I understand it takes time. But that's all. If you find that your love life stays stagnant, understand that's what I predicted. But it's also something that, first of all, it's not forever. And it's also something that you can completely change. But it's also challenging to do when you're putting so much of your effort into the business, because that needs you too. Your career needs you, your business needs you right now. And that's a commitment where you will be putting in a lot of hours to grow something from the ground up. And that you can't divide yourself so much, you know. So it also takes time. So I hope it helps, sweetheart. I didn't want to give you any kind of false hope. Oh, you know, you're gonna get with someone right away in 2026. No, I'm telling you, you're gonna be single for a while. Maybe all of 2026. Okay. Can you change it? Yes, but it's gonna take a lot of hard work. I would say that after 2026 there would be some kind of change. Let me check on that for you. I would say 2027 is when you're going to start getting into a relationship and start to change the direction of your love life. I hope that helps you. 2026, it's not going to happen. The rest of 2025, not going to happen. 2027, it's happening. And by then, you'll be ready. You'll have learned a lot, shed a lot, evolved a lot. And it all has a pretty timing with it too. So. Thank you so much, Marie, for, Annie, or Anne. You don't have the IE. Thank you for choosing me to do your reading. I appreciate it. There's a lot of competitors out there, and I'm also a small business, so thank you for choosing me. All right, sweetheart, have a good weekend. Or actually, start of the week. Weekend's over. Okay, if your connection died for some reason, Anne, because I was just saying goodbye and thank you. If your connection died, don't worry, because the reading is being recorded for the archive, so you will be able to retrieve it as record. I'll just wait one more second, see if your connection goes back on, sweetheart. I just wanted to say goodbye, Anne. Thank you. Are you still there? Anyway, if you had a connection problem, like I said, you'll be able to retrieve the reading. It usually takes about 24 to 48 hours. Let me try to wave to you, see if you can, let's see if that works. Oh, it doesn't work? I used to be able to wave to the person and it would send them... Anne, are you still there? Anne-Marie? Testing, testing. Mic test. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Uh-oh. Okay, the live is still going. Let's see. Let me see if I can go ahead and send you an email. Let me see if it, because of the connection. Let's see. So I do have another reading, and this one is for Josie. Josie, are you there? And I also have one for Anlay. Oh, yes, Aniele. Yes, I remember. I sent her an email. I don't see her on here right now. But I do have one from Josie. Are you there, Josie? Oh, okay. Oh, Kennedy. Okay. I see your last name. Okay. I'm ready for you. Thank you. I think Anne had I think that Anne had the connection die or something. I don't think she's there. Can you wave at her or anything? I used to be able to wave, but I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. Are you ready for your reading? So I'm gonna end the live and then come right back to ensure that we get a fresh record. That way I can put it in the archive. So if you need to hear it or whatever again, we have a record of it. Because sometimes people do like a print record or print screen and then it deletes or they don't have it or okay. All right, so I'll meet you back in like a minute or so because I'm just gonna reconnect and make sure this live recorded completely. Because if not, I'll take a photo of the reading of the cards and I'll send her an email. Okay, that way she has a record because I think maybe her phone died or something like that. All right, sweetie, I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. This one, I have to do this.